Hello, my name is Carina Vargas. I am here about to present my project number 2 for the Minesweeper. I'm going to begin by showing my code for the grid class. Here I'm importing my random, my arrays, my action event, my listeners, my J button, my J frame, and these are all functions for my code to work. Here we start with my public class, which is my grid. I made 2 classes, and this is because for some reason I couldn't get it to work together in one. And for side books as well, I realized that the GUI, unless it was commented off, it wasn't going to work. So I just made it 2 separate files. So here I'm going to explain my bomb grids. These are my 2D bomb grid locations and my 2D array to count my adjacent bombs. Here I'm counting my nums, columns, which is my grid dimensions based on rows and columns, and my total number of bombs. Here I start my constructions. These were my private fields. My constructors here, we're gonna here emphasize how big my grid is going to be, 10 by 10 with 25 bombs as requested. And they're going to be placed, yes, randomly, but they're fully customizable. It's a fully customizable grid here, the bomb count. Here I call the constructions. They actually, I had to put them in each one of them so it could work. I had to call them and add in each constructed here. And this creates and it populates the bomb grid. And this one is counting the grid using populating the count grid from the bomb grid data. And the same thing here. Same thing here. They're just my overloaded constructors. Here is a copy of my 2D dimensional Boolean array. And here I create the 2D Boolean array. And here I did a for loop to make sure that, how do I explain this? This is just to make sure that so it returns and for the loop to iterate and copy. I don't know, I put it there and I forgot how to explain it. So here we return it and I end it. And this one, it's also for getting the count grid. And here reiterate and copy the grid. Here are my get nums, my getters for the private fields. Here I implement each bomb location, and if it returns true, if the bomb is in the cell, if not, it returns false. Otherwise, here I implement the get that it returns the sum of the adjacents for the bombs counted, and it retrieves it from the count grid. Here's for the placing the bombs randomly in the grid with based on based on the columns, and it's just here is random with the if statement. If not, the number just increments and it's going to skip it if there's no bomb. Here, this is for creating the count grid. When I created a count grid, I thought that I was going to be able to do both, like the bomb grid, but I realized that I wasn't going to be able to. So what I did instead, I did two for loops to iterate over the entire grid instead. And here it checks. It checks if it has the bomb or not and how many counts. And from and here I'm going to continue with the GUI. In the GUI, here I have my J-frame, and in my J-frame, I call the grid to display the buttons on the display, check if the game is, I put here if the game is over, reveal the cells. Here we're create, it's going to show me the grid as requested with 10 rows, 10 columns, 25 bombs. Use for the J-frame setup. Set up the title so it can show on the frame and the width of the frame. My J buttons here is to initialize the array, and the for loop here is going through each cell to make sure that I have the dimensions of the same each size, the same font, the same size, the one that I'm choosing. And here we set it visible so we can see the grid on the GUI. Here's my action listeners. In my action listeners, I put it there, and here is for my actions. Okay, so here if there's a bomb, the game is over, and here this is when and the entire contents of the grid is revealed to the player. So it's gonna ask the game is over, it's gonna show it, and it's gonna also ask if they would like to play again. And here's the yes no option. So it could give us that option for the user to choose it. And once it exits, it's going to also again, if not, it's going to say you won. And once you win, it's going to ask you again if you want to play again with the yes no option. And it's going to reset the game. And here we're going to show the cell reveal and its neighbors. This is where you're going to click on one and it's going to show us the get count location for each and reveal the cells. Here's to reveal the cells in adjacent and if the count is 0. And here we're going to check if every column and row, if they're within the bounds. Sorry, my computer's freezing a little bit. Here I started with the extra credit. With the extra credit, we have to show if adjacent, if the grid was how it can reveal. And here I put for the bomb. So here, if there's 0 cells are revealed at the end of the loop. And here this game is going to reset and show a new grid every time it resets the game. And this is my main, where I'm going to now show you how the game worked with my code. And here it is. And if we're gonna play the game, there's 2. And bomb game is over. There you go. Would you like to play again? So let's see if I can. Oh, let's see if we can get us to say when. Okay, let's go a little bit later. Four. Yeah, that's the game. And thank you for watching, and thank you, Professor. Have a good day.